If you like what you see, if I can please request you to subscribe to my channel. So what is sovereign default? Sovereign default is the failure of a national government to pay its debts. Sovereign default retards a nation's growth and reduces the nation's appeal to foreign investors. Massive debt from war, mismanagement, political corruption, or prolonged economic downturn are some key reasons for sovereign default. So where do governments borrow money from? Most governments borrow money. They do this from other governments, multilateral development institutions such as the World Bank, commercial banks, and by issuing bonds in private markets. Debt is a future obligation and much more attractive to governments because the burden falls on future supporters and not on current ones. They roll over existing debt into new obligations that mature beyond the political time horizons of incumbent government officials. So what's happening globally? Well, Lebanon, Russia, Sri Lanka, and Zambia are officially in default. On the same note, Argentina, Ghana, Pakistan, and El Salvador are on the brink of a debt crisis. Argentina has defaulted on its debt 9 times. In 2001, the government defaulted on more than $132 billion of federal sovereign debt. In May 2020, Argentina defaulted again on the payments of its international sovereign bonds, while pursuing its restructuring. The peso melts like ice in the Sahara Desert? What do you mean? The economy in Argentina is in crisis with inflation at a staggering 113%. Putting a lid on inflation is paramount. Argentina has nearly $44 billion of debt with the International Monetary Fund, which is nearly 10 times its credit allowance. So what do you mean by dollarization and what are some of the problems? If Javier Milei is elected, Argentina would become the 4th Latin American country to adopt the US dollar. This would mean that the US dollar would be legal tender and unit of account. Argentina's $650 billion economy would be the largest dollarization experiment. It would give up its power to print currency and this way help in reducing inflation. The biggest problem with dollarization is the loss of independent monetary policy. Countries effectively outsource the job to the United States, which sets interest rates for the US economy. The US dollar is not a substitute for sound macroeconomic policies and responsible fiscal management. If countries can maintain discipline to avoid default, they're better off retaining their own currency with a floating exchange rate. My question for the day is, has the US ever defaulted? Or has it come quite close?